Music in Carnival is not just for dancing. It's how we remember, how we protest, how we dream. Every verse, every beat carries our story forward, from calypsonians who sing truth to power, to producers and to artists who create new futures through sound. This is where rhythm becomes revolution.
Hey everybody, Rankin Morgan here, Managing Director of 123 Digital Limited, founder of Dazzle Magazine and head producer at Dazzle Music. So I started my musical journey over 2 decades ago at the St. Lucia School of Music, where I played the piano. From there, I ventured into DJing together with my brother, Mezzoforte Sound System, Champion Sound. During that time, there was a friend of ours, Corey Raggi, who dabbled into production, and he was definitely an inspiration because he created something out of nothing at his home using his bedroom as a studio. So from there, I learned a lot of the various, production techniques, the programs, etc. After that, I moved to the UK for some time, and during that time, I continued my music production. Nicole David was in the UK, and we did an event with her. And I shared with her that I was into production, and she was very keen and eager to work with me. So a couple of years later, I returned to St. Lucia, and we worked on a project together with Francis Dilima, aka Libo, and we produced a song called Release the Tiger, which was my very first soca, professional soca track. I feel very fortunate and blessed to have worked with these two greats at the start of my production career. During that period, I also approached Alpha, who I didn't know at all from anywhere. He wasn't my friend or colleague, and we were by the line, and I let him hear a demo of a track, and he was very open to it. And we recorded it, and again, we did record it by Libo. We got engineering assistance from Adam Gilmore. It worked out quite well, so that first year, my first year into soca music production, I had both Nicole David and Alpha. And again, that really shaped me to who I am today. During the time I started with the production, I think that was 2010, 2011, but within that time frame, 2009, there were songs like Container, Labway, which really changed the St. Lucian sound. So Ninja Dan had the sound, Outside Man, all these things were a lot different from what the Lucian sound was from before. And we were getting a lot of recognition outside St. Lucia. And for me, that was one of the fun times. Nicole also had songs like Mate. She had Bounce, so it was a very exciting time for St. Lucia Carnival. So with my contribution in sound is I like to see the artist progress beyond music. And one of the greatest achievements for me is Imran Nudi, like where he is now, being part of his production team, me being able to offer guidance, both on a production level and also from a management level and also an artist development level. So seeing him taking advice and implementing it in his performances, on his social media posts, etc. This is what I like to see, and it's not just him, but other artists who I work with, trying to get them out there, and being able to be independent. Okay, one of the songs which I did with Imran Nudi, which was different, is unemployed. Every single section of that song has a different arrangement. It has a 90s dancehall bass line with a soca percussion layered on top. So that track is different to me, and I think it makes that production quite unique. So my position right now in that entire Carnival product is straight artist development. You know, as a producer, also as artist manager, I've been able to understand the art form and understand the individuals that contribute to the art form. I've been on Alpha's management team. I've managed Shemi J. I'm also part of Emanudi's management team. You know, I've managed Brandon Harding, but everybody that I've mentioned is quite unique. You know, I've always tried to encourage these guys to think beyond soca, beyond just the music. You know, Shemi J and I, we've done the boat rides together, you know, which have been successful. And this is something which I recommended when during COVID, quote unquote, nothing was running. You know, we had to find an alternative revenue stream. With all the artists as well, I try to encourage them to manage their finances properly. You know, we should have bank accounts. You know, we should take accountability with regards to our spending. You know, we're supposed to be able to save. Another thing is emotional intelligence, knowing what to say, when to say it, and how to say it. You know, don't let negativity get the best of you. You know, be focused, because we do have a goal. Our goal is to export St. Lucia music. You know, that's our primary goal. In order to do that, we have to put a lot of work. It's not only the talent, but it's also the discipline. I am very elated and happy when the artists who I work with go beyond or progress beyond music. St. Lucia soca has evolved over the years from the fast-paced calypso to us having our own genre, which is Denry Segment / Lucian Carnival. You know, we have great producers such as G6, rest in peace, Ransom Records, Moto, Seagull Productions. You know, these guys have definitely contributed to the musical landscape of St. Lucia. We also have Migs, which is Vibes Production, who has also given some good music over the years. He's been very consistent. We have Elmo Norville, who is extremely talented as well. You can hear everyone's talent in the music over the years, you know, and of course we can never forget Stratosphere Records and 758 Pen and Ace, you know, doing men's for their contribution as well, because I think these producers I mentioned literally change the sound as well. So producers, I think, are the ones, they are like the farmers. They literally would grow their crop, which is music, and the music is what feeds the people. So at our events, you know, we definitely need the music for the band launches, for on the road experience, for the tents. The producers are very influential when it comes to how the Carnival product is shaped yearly, because every year you look for good music, you look for music which was better than the year before. You know, we even compare the music that comes out, which can be a good thing or bad thing, but I think the producers always want to be better than what they would the previous year, you know, and even our revelers, they look forward to the music and even look forward to that St. Lucian experience. I personally, being one who travels for Carnival, think that we in St. Lucia have one of the best road experiences. You don't see that anywhere else, and our music is very infectious. You know, we cannot discredit that. We can only get better. So I just think that the St. Lucian sound is by far like world class. So one of our major challenges as producers is the readiness of the artists. You know, readiness meaning that the time it takes to create. You know, we need to release a lot earlier than only a month or 2 months before the actual carnival dates. And I think sometimes the artists can procrastinate, which would cause that delay. Another challenge that I believe is that the jazz festival and carnival are like too close. So a lot of emphasis is played on jazz festival. And yes, we do see soca artists perform on the jazz platform. However, it does not showcase any recent music or the music for the season or for the upcoming season, I should say. And the artists who do perform at jazz, it's more or less, it's just like an accolade to say, I've performed on the jazz stage. And I think that the artists who sing on the jazz stage, they are just only happy to be on that world stage on that night, So I think that's our challenge. I think during the jazz period, and just my opinion and my thought, they should have some sort of soca elements within the jazz festival really highlighted, and we should encourage the soca artists to release songs from before jazz festival so that they can showcase it during that time, because once jazz festival is done, we can just continue into the carnival season. So Denry Segment has been a great addition to St. Lucia Carnival's product. It's very unique. The sound is like no other. People flying to St. Lucia just to, enjoy that experience on the road. The Denry Segment does have their challenges. Unfortunately, last year there was supposed to be a Denry Segment competition which was cancelled and not rescheduled, which was very disappointing. But if we are to highlight those artists, I think we should give them that great platform, just like the soca and just like the calypso. Denry Segment, again, is a new genre. It's not as old as all the others, and we just need to nurture it. We need to make it grow. We need to support the artists. We have to give the artists a lot of respect, because we have some great sounds. As I mentioned earlier, we have some great producers, who produce those infectious beats. We've seen the likes of Pretty and Marsha Montano, Father Fox, Skinny Fabulous, who have jumped on Denry Segments, Hyper Sounds in Barbados, jumping on our rhythms, and they know exactly what that sound does. I always call it an instant party starter. Once a Denry Segment is played, everybody gets jiggy. So I think we just need to nurture the genre. We have to support the artists, and even when I say support, not only financially but only with training all across the board, so that they can hold their own. Denry Segment grows every single year. Every single year there is a specific Denry Segment song which takes the carnival by storm. We just need to nurture the artists so that they be a lot more consistent. And another thing about Denry Segment too, it's not only during carnival. Denry Segment is a genre that plays throughout the year. You understand? And that is big for St. Lucia, because majority of the soca artists in the other islands, they only produce music within that 3-month season. With Denry Segment, it comes out anytime. We have some great Denry Segment artists, like Kuya, Black Boy, even Moto. Moto is doing his thing in his own unique way, putting St. Lucia on the map. So, I really look forward to what 2025 brings. One of the ways I think we can support our music in general is to have a lot more showcase/platforms. We should not only wait for Soca Monarch. We should not only wait for the government or the events company or the carnival committee to create a production. I think privately, the promoters can assist by doing little shows, little showcases that will feature artists. I know finance is a problem for some of the promoters, depending on the magnitude of the event. But I just think that we need to see the artists perform a lot more often, and that in itself can help, with the artist stage performance moving forward. You see everybody putting their all, into the productions to ensure that they're on top of the game. And even though some may not be in that top 3, they come back next year, the following year, just as strong, you understand? And as I said earlier, it's not all about Soca Monarch, it's beyond Soca Monarch. And again, people may chop my head off for this, but I like it now as the Soca Monarch is a week before Carnival, because it gives the artists now who've won an extra week to promote that winning song. Even though I love Soca Monarch, and I love the theatrics of it, I do believe there is life for St. Lucia music beyond Carnival Monday and Tuesday. My advice to upcoming producers, just create, produce, put the music out there, do little videos on Instagram and on Facebook, record your own visualizers. It doesn't have to be perfect, but, put a face to the sound, and just don't be afraid. You will make mistakes and you will definitely learn from your experiences. So don't ever be discouraged. Don't even be discouraged if you don't hear your music on the radio. Just remember, there's social media. Songs bust now on social media before they bust on the radio. So just keep your head up and keep on creating.
Feel the vibes? Embody the spirit. Lucian Carnival. Nothing sweeter than that.